This is a funnel, and this is what led me to train over 30,000 students and build $1 million training business from my tiny backyard shooting range. And I'm going to show you how in this video. I'm going to walk through what is a funnel. I'm going to show you exactly how it fills your classes and how it makes an easier and faster marketing system for your business. So when you look at a funnel is designed to get a whole lot of things into one area quickly. When you're pouring your oil at the top, you get less spill, less mess. You get to pour it in faster. It's all around optimizing your pour for your funnel so that you get the best possible results. In a marketing funnel, it's very similar. We have everybody that we're targeting at the top and where we want them to go at the very bottom. And at its core, the problem with the human customer, especially in today's world, is that we don't want to be sold to. We don't want to get junk mail in our email or get junk mail in our mailbox or have videos advertising to us on Facebook. So what we need to do is we need to capture their attention, build a relationship with them, and drive them to an outcome that we prescribe, drive them to a particular outcome that we want them to do. In our case, we want them to be scrolling on Facebook or listening to a radio ad. In some other fashion, we want to grab their attention and get them to either register for a class or jump into our email list or something along those lines so that we can stop them from what they're doing right then and build them into our community, into our business. In 1898, a guy by the name of St. Elmo Lewis came up with a framework, a process that humans go through when making a buying decision. And this process is still used today in the marketing world in a lot of areas. In fact, it's the number one easiest way to get a customer to purchase is to walk the customer through this process. The process is called the AIDA framework. AIDA. This is the AIDA framework. The A in the AIDA framework stands for attention. The first thing we need to do when we're trying to make any sort of sales is we need to get the person's attention right off the bat. Then once we have their attention, we go to I, which stands for interest. So once we have their attention, now we need to get their interest. So we capture their attention. We've suddenly, some bold or sudden way, we've gotten their attention. Now we need to make them interested in our product, service, or sales process. Then the D is once we have them interested, we need to get them to desire our product or our service or our training, right? So we get their attention with some sort of bold or unstoppable way, something they didn't expect, something that's attention grabbing. Once we have their attention, our next step is to get their interest. We need to get them interested in continuing to consume our video, our words, our text, our headline, whatever, or our product. And then we need to get them to want, desire. We need to get them to want our system, our process, our plan, our product. And then the final thing is we need to get them to take action. So once we have their attention, we get them interested in our product, we make them want our product, and then we make them take action to secure our product. This is the AIDA framework. And when we go back to our funnel process, if we imagine our funnel, at the top, we've got, everybody here at the top, we've got our attention. Everybody here at the top is, they're not in our funnel yet. Then the first step of the funnel is that we get their attention. Then we get their interest. Then when we're bringing them a little bit closer to where we want them, we've got the desire, and then we've got our action. Attention, interest, desire, action. When we are drawing a funnel on a screen, a funnel looks like this. It's a little bit less complicated or a little bit less fancy than what we just had, this funnel here, right? So this is basically our funnel. And so when we're drawing our funnel, if we were to draw a traditional funnel, it's going to look like this. We've got our attention here, interest, desire, and then finally action. So because people don't want to be sold to, we have to grab their attention, make them interested, and create desire for our product or service, and then have them take action. And so that's what a funnel typically looks like. And throughout this entire process, we've got all people are all in this area here. And, these people are just living their lives every day. They're just doing their own thing. And we need to grab their attention and drive them right into the top of this funnel. That's what our marketing does. is it grabs their attention, makes them interested in our product, makes them want it, and then makes them take action to get signed up. And so a good funnel, okay, is going to do all of those things. So let's draw out an example of how this can actually look in real life. And so this is a funnel that most of us instructors use either now or at some stage in our lives. An example, word of mouth, because word of mouth can only get you so far. You can train a lot of people, but only a fraction of those people are going to tell their friends, and only a fraction of those friends that they tell are going to show up. And so it's a very slow way to grow. If you want to increase your growth, the only way to increase our growth is to get more people at the attention phase. In order to get more people to the attention phase, they need to hear about you in a different way. And so another funnel that I like to run are Facebook ads, for instance, right? So this would be a Facebook ad, okay? This is a way to grab a lot of people's attention at one time. If your funnel, if your system, your marketing system is driving people to your website after they see their ad, okay, that's good, okay? You want them to register. And then, of course, we want them to then A, for attend. The problem is that you're skipping from attention straight to action. That's the problem, right? Is that if you're running a Facebook ad to your website for people to register and attend, you're going from attention to action. You're trying to get them to commit too fast. They don't have interest and you haven't created desire, right? So you haven't created that interest and you haven't created that desire. And so that's why a lot of businesses fail, because what we try to do is we try to run a Facebook ad directly to our website. We try to get people to register and then attend a class. And the problem is we're skipping 2 steps. We're not creating their interest and we're not creating their desire. And that's why your ads, if you've run ads on Facebook before, have completely failed. It's because we're not getting their interest or desire. And so what we need to do in our marketing funnel is we need to do all 4 steps: attention, interest, desire, action. And so one of the ways we can do that, okay, going back to the Facebook ads concept, instead of driving them directly to the action step, we do get their interest. Remember, so we're going to go attention, interest, desire, action, okay, AIDA. So the Facebook ad can drive people to a website, but the website, instead of trying to get money out of them, is trying to get them more interested in your product, okay? This is an important concept, is that we offer them something for free in exchange for their contact information. What that can look like is we send them to our website and the offer is maybe, hey, join 7 days of email, of drills, of firearm training drills that are going to get sent right to your email inbox so that you can start getting trained at your home in your own time. So what we're doing in that website offer is we're creating interest in our product. And those emails that they get for the next 7 days are creating even more interest in your product. And as they're getting more interested in what you have to sell, they are wanting to become. Your next step would be like your emails. This is what we call a nurture sequence, where we're nurturing the relationship and we're bringing them from just interested to wanting, from just somebody who's interested in your product or service to wanting your product or service. And then we need to provide an action, which we call a CTA, a call to action. So every one of those 7 emails should make them desire your product, okay? Be interested and desire your product, and then take action with a call to action. What is the call to action? Well, the call to action is that they leave the current funnel that they're in and they go to the next funnel, which is to sign up for your classes. And so this is, in theory, the AIDA framework and a funnel is designed to make sure that your classes are filled by getting people to have attention, interest, desire, and then take action. And so in everything that we do, it needs to be a funnel. Here's another example of a funnel, okay? Right now, I'm offering, or I'm building, I haven't launched it yet, but as of the date of this video, I'm building a new funnel. And for my AIDA, okay, what I am doing is building a 7-day email series for people to learn how to fill their classes, right? So attention is, my headline on my Facebook ad. Okay, so they'd see the headline and then they go over to my page to, we call it a landing page, which is the first part of a funnel. And these are both interest. So all 3 of these elements are attention. And then interest is we have them opt in, okay, for something free in exchange for their email address and contact information. And then once they opt in, I'm going to nurture them in my email, which is going to create the desire. And then for action, they are going to buy something. And that's my action phase. Okay. So again, the AIDA framework. And I'll tell you, if you start implementing the AIDA framework in all that you do, in your ads, your email, your landing page, your website, AIDA framework is all that you do, you're going to be able to fill your classes better. This is how I trained over 30,000 students. And so the action that I want you to implement today is I want you to look at your sales process. I want you to look at your registration process. And I want you to identify which part of your process is attention, which part is getting them interested, which part is making them want your product for desire, and then which part is leading to an action, which is a call to action, something that we're telling them to do. And that's what I want you to do. As always, down below the video, if you have any interest in working directly with me, there's some links below. And I'd love to see you soon. Thanks for watching.